Surrounded by the Styrian Mountains, the Austrian Grand Prix brings one of the most breathtaking circuits, not only for its scenery, but the remarkable racing we witness on track. Known for its short lap, dramatic elevation changes, and excellent overtaking opportunities, this year's Austrian Grand Prix is set to be a nail-biter. With Hamilton's win in Barcelona, the battle for the Drivers' Championship will be further intensified, adding another chapter to the rich history of the Austrian Grand Prix. The first ever Formula One World Championship Austrian Grand Prix was held on August 23 in 1964 at Zeltweg Airfield. Temporarily built on an airfield in Austria, the track was extremely bumpy, leading to numerous suspension and mechanical failures throughout the race. Graham Hill secured pole position, but like many others, was forced to retire. Along with Hill, there was Jim Clark, who suffered a drive shaft failure in his Lotus, Dan Gurney, who's at the fastest lap before retiring due to mechanical problems, along with many others. Lorenzo Bandini, who had started 7th on the grid, steadily worked his way through the field as other competitors fell by the wayside. His teammate John Surtees retired after 8 laps with suspension trouble, leaving Bandini as Ferrari's last hope for points. On lap 59, former world champion Phil Hill lost control of his Cooper Climax and crashed into straw bales. Luckily, he survived after jumping out of his burning car. Controlling the closing stages, Bandini took the lead and finished 6.18 seconds ahead of Richie Ginther. Driving reliably and avoiding mechanical failures is what made Bandini's drive iconic, making him the first ever Austrian Grand Prix winner. It was Bandini's only Formula One victory before his tragic death at the 1967 Monaco Grand Prix. After 11 retirements in total, the circuit proved so unpopular amongst drivers that it was abandoned after only one championship race. Replacing the Zeltweg airfield, Formula One moved to the Oostring. The Austrian Grand Prix would take place there from 1970 to 1987. Located in the Styrian Mountains, it quickly became Formula One's fastest and most challenging tracks. With almost every corner taken at high speed, elevation changes, and a fast-flowing track, drivers generally loved this circuit as it rewarded bravery and commitment. The 1970 Austrian Grand Prix took place on August 16th. Championship leader Jochen Rindt started from pole position, but retired due to an engine failure. It was his final Formula One Grand Prix before his fatal accident at Monza later that season. Behind Rindt, the Ferraris of Clay Regazzoni and Jackie Ickx in second and third were ready to go. Rindt had won 5 of the previous 8 races, as Ferrari struggled to find consistent speed. Ickx drove a measured race, taking control from the front, setting a share of the fastest lap. Regazzoni stayed close, and after 60 laps, it was a Ferrari 1-2, with Ickx taking home first place. Though the 1970 Austrian Grand Prix is remembered through Ickx's win, it's also worth noting that after Rindt's death in Monza, no other driver was able to match his points in the Driver Championship. This made Jochen Rindt the first and only post-humanist F1 world champion. One of Formula One's most extraordinary stories took place in torrential rain, shadowed by tragedy, and defined by an unexpected underdog victory. The 1975 Austrian Grand Prix was already marked by sorrow after the death of Mark Donoghue and a track marshal during practice. Known as one of the fastest and most dangerous circuits, it was further complicated by relentless torrential rain. Pole sitter Niki Lauda led the field, but conditions deteriorated rapidly. Drivers had to battle against aquaplaning, spray, and near-zero visibility. Starting in 8th, Vittorio Brambilla was thrilled with the wet weather conditions. Carving through the field, he hunted down the leaders. When James Hunt suffered engine trouble, Brambilla seized the lead. By lap 29, conditions became so dangerous that officials halted the race. Only 29 of the 54 laps were finished, meaning half championship points were awarded to Brambilla. Finishing 27 seconds ahead of James Hunt, Brambilla crossed the checkered flag absolutely elated. Only seconds after winning, though, he lost control of his car on the soaked track and hit the barriers during the slowdown phase. Despite crashing, Brambilla celebrated his Formula One victory. What makes this story so compelling is that Brambilla wasn't a future world champion or superstar. Funnily enough, his victory at the Austrian Grand Prix was the only victory in his Formula One career. Brambilla was tough, often midfield machinery, and considered an underdog. For one rain-soaked afternoon, he was unstoppable, and even after his crash, he celebrated enthusiastically. Originally from 1970 to 1976, the section of the track most revered was the Helle Lynch curve, a terrifyingly fast right-handed bend. After the fatal practice crash of Mark Donoghue during the 1975 Austrian Grand Prix, safety concerns grew. The corner was first tightened for 1976, then completely redesigned into the Helle Lynch chicane for 1977. What had once been the fastest corner on the circuit was now the slowest. Many fans considered the chicane a symbol of Formula One's transition from ultra-fast, dangerous circuits of the early 1970s to the more safety-conscientious era that followed. Even with the new chicane, the circuit remained one of the fastest tracks on the calendar throughout the 1980s. On August 19, 1984, it was round 12 of the championship, and Niki Lauda was chasing his McLaren teammate Alain Prost in the title fight. Nelson Piquet took pole position, with Prost alongside him. Lauda had qualified only fourth, as he often sacrificed qualifying speed for a race setup that was gentler on tires and fuel. Once the race was underway, Piquet controlled the early stages while Prost ran second and Lauda settled into third. Driving conservatively, preserving his tires and fuel, Lauda kept the leaders comfortably in sight. During lap 28, Elio de Angelis suffered an engine failure and oil spilled onto the track. Piquet managed to slide through, but Prost spun heavily into the barriers and retired. As the race progressed, Piquet's tires began to fade, and Lauda increased his pace, eventually passing the Brazilian for the lead on lap 39. Hearing a bang from his gearbox on lap 42, Lauda discovered his fourth gear had failed. With only 9 laps remaining, he nursed the car through the final laps, doing his best not to damage the transmission further. He almost retired the car, but was able to keep going, eventually winning the race by 23 seconds, despite mechanical issues. This made Niki Lauda the only Austrian ever to win the Austrian Grand Prix and moved him into the lead of the World Championship against Prost. It became a crucial step towards his third world title, which he eventually won by just half a point, the closest margin in Formula One history. After 1987, the Osterring fell off the Formula One calendar. During the mid-1990s, the circuit was extensively rebuilt. Designed by Hermann Tilke, the new circuit transformed the Austrian Grand Prix into a much shorter and safer track, known as the A1 Ring. Located near Spielberg, many of the original sweeping corners were replaced with tighter turns and heavy braking zones, large runoff areas, modern pit facilities, and updated safety standards. The redesign was aimed to create more overtaking opportunities while meeting FIA regulations. Returning to Austria in 1997, the race did not disappoint, as it was clear the long straights and heavy braking hairpins immediately created overtaking opportunities and strategic variety for drivers to race on. Jacques Villeneuve took home the victory in his Williams, which was key in his battle with Michael Schumacher that year for the championship. At the 2002 Austrian Grand Prix, Ferrari dominated the circuit. Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello were running first and second most of the race. Barrichello was faster all weekend, and as the two Ferraris reached their final lap, Barrichello was still leading. Then came the moment that defined the event. Coming out of the final corner, Barrichello slowed down dramatically, letting Schumacher pass him to take home the victory. The margin was 0.01 seconds, the closest finish in Formula One history at the time. Ferrari had made the call internally to have Schumacher pass Barrichello in order for Michael to have more points in the Drivers' Championship. Spectators were outraged, booing the decision. The podium was awkward to say the least, with Schumacher encouraging Barrichello to stand on the top step. However, the damage had already been done. Ferrari were fined for bringing the sport into disrepute and heavily influenced the FIA to ban team orders in 2003, though they later redacted it in 2010. Barrichello's frustration became one of the defining examples of team hierarchy in the Schumacher era of Ferrari dominance. Even today, when people talk about team orders, this 2002 Austrian Grand Prix is usually the first example that comes up. The Austrian Grand Prix left Formula One once again after its 2003 season, and the A1 ring fell into disuse. After a long absence in the sport, the Austrian Grand Prix returned as the Red Bull Ring, following a major redevelopment led by Dietrich Mateschitz, the owner of Red Bull GmbH. In 2004, Dietrich purchased the circuit with the goal of bringing top-level motorsport back to the region. Between 2008 and 2011, the circuit was extensively rebuilt with FIA safety standards, infrastructure, which is the pits, the paddock, and grandstands, and layout for modern racing. F1 made its comeback in Austria in 2014 with immediate success. Much of the circuit kept the old Osterring, such as the short laps, 10 corners, massive elevation changes, and long straights into heavy braking zones. This combination once again gave drivers opportunities for frequent overtaking, thus helping the Austrian Grand Prix quickly re-establish itself as one of the more popular F1 venues. One rivalry that gets talked about in almost every article I write is the one between Hamilton and Rosberg during the Mercedes dynasty era. By mid-2016, Rosberg arrived leading the standings, with Hamilton quickly closing the gap. During the 2016 Austrian Grand Prix, Hamilton took pole position, with Rosberg starting just behind him. The race became another intense battle between the two Mercedes drivers, whose cars were significantly faster than the rest of the field during the hybrid era. On the final lap, Rosberg led the race, but Hamilton closed rapidly and attempted to move around the outside at turn 2. Rosberg, struggling with a brake-by-wire issue, ran wide while defending, and the two teammates made contact. The collision damaged Rosberg's front wing, while Hamilton was able to continue and take victory. Rosberg limped home in 4th place and was later handed a 10-second penalty for causing the incident. The clash became one of the defining moments of their fierce championship battle and further escalated tensions within Mercedes. One of Max Verstappen's best races took place during the 2019 Austrian Grand Prix. Starting second on the grid, he looked to be in a good position to secure a podium. However, once the race started, an anti-stall issue dropped him down to 8th. In true Verstappen fashion, he worked his way through the midfield, fighting traffic lap after lap. Steadily, he climbed his way back using strong tire management and pace. By the time pit cycles were playing out, he was back in contention for the win. With fresher tires, he hunted down Charles Leclerc in first, passing Sebastian Vettel, Valtteri Bottas, and eventually found himself in second. On lap 69 out of 71, he made his defining move on Leclerc at turn 3, briefly going off track in a wheel-to-wheel fight. He kept his position, finishing first by 2.7 seconds ahead of Leclerc. This was Max's 6th career win in Formula One, and the first win from his Honda-powered engine since 2006. It was also the first non-Mercedes win of the 2019 season. From a rough airfield circuit in 1964 to the modern Red Bull Ring, the Austrian Grand Prix has evolved into one of Formula One's most iconic races, surviving multiple cancellations, disappearing, then returning to the calendar over the decades. Its history is filled with legendary drivers, controversial moments, and unforgettable victories, making it a standout event in the Formula One season. The Austrian Grand Prix rewards power, brave overtaking, and precision braking more than technical cornering or rhythm-based driving, often producing some of the most exciting races on the calendar. In Austria, it's not about being perfect. It's about being fearless when it matters most.